Are you serious? Because we are. Are you serious? Because I am. Are you serious? What are you talking about? You better get some coffee and calm down because something catastrophic, something cataclysmic, something off the. You better get some coffee and calm down. Yeah, something cataclysmic is about to happen. And that is because Russia is on the verge of defaulting on major loans that they owe the United States. And it looks like the United States is going to make it even harder for them to pay these loans, which means the assets that are used as collateral for those loans would be seized. And they are way more money than what Russia owes. So you have to understand this is why the news media in Russia, state-run television, said World War III has begun, and they said that yesterday. So you have to understand, guys, this how much long it is incredible what's taking place, but I don't know. Does that mean the nukes are coming out? Well, we're going to talk about that. And does that mean? And here's my question to you: then, if that's the case, are you armed? Are you armed? Okay. And this is why you have to have the Second Amendment. Ukraine has just adopted their own version of the Second Amendment, but it is too late. They were already invaded. Ukraine had strict gun control laws for decades, but the Ukrainian government has decriminalized gun ownership for self-defense because of the invading forces of Russia. This highlights how necessary gun rights really are in self-defense. That's why over at www.supportthesecond.com, www.supportthesecond.com has come up with this incredible gold coin. It's there, you see it. You see it's Second Amendment. It says right there, I highly recommend this. It's free. If you go to www.supportthesecond.com, on the front, you can see there where it says the Second Amendment is my gun permit. Okay, with the skull and the rifle. And then on the back, the Second Amendment, the Constitution of the United States, gives you the right to bear arms. We as a nation never want to become Europe, because if you get so woke that you don't have the Second Amendment, then you have a dangerous situation that if invaded, the constituents, the people, have no ability to protect themselves. So again, go to www.supportthesecond.com. That's www.supportthesecond.com. Wow, I tell you, we are really living in these last days, no doubt about that. And it's getting worse out there. Let's talk about this Second Amendment and what has happened here. It's quite interesting, but here's what we're finding out. Russia's debt default will be one of the hardest in history to get resolved. It could see U.S. seizing central banks' assets, according to economists. The impending Russian debt default is likely to be one of the most difficult in history to resolve. It could even result in the United States seizing the Russian central bank's frozen assets, according to consultant Tatina Orlova. Now, Russia still has a grace period in which to make the dollar payment on its foreign bonds, but analysts say it's going to default. They don't have the money. The impending Russian debt default is likely to be one of the most difficult in history to resolve, and it could even leave the United States to permanently seize these assets. And you know what? The Russian economy already suffering from the restrictions and the the sanctions that the United States has put on them. Russia is facing the first default of its foreign currency debt since the aftermath of the Bolshevik revolution in 1918. At the end of World War I and the Bolshevik Revolution, they defaulted on their foreign currency debt. And think about this, it's been 104 years. But the United States Treasury earlier this month has blocked Russia from paying $650 million that's due to the United States on 2 bonds. Using funds held at American banks, Russia has instead tried to pay in rubles, but credit ratings agencies have said this would constitute a default. So Russia has a 30-day grace period from April 4th in which to pay in dollars. But thoughts are now turning to the next steps and how these bondholders might recoup their money by a bank seizure of the frozen assets of the Russian government. Tatiana Orlova, as leading an emerging markets economist, said that investors face a very long, difficult legal battle to get their money back. Russia's debt crisis will be among the most historic in the history of the earth. And listen, one of the key problems is that the political and financial relationships between Russia and the West have completely broken down. That makes the unusual default process whereby bondholders and the governments either change regulations, thrash out a deal, and that's unlikely to happen when you're in a war. So Russia is up against the wall now because of its debt payments it due the United States and other European nations. This is the big squeeze, guys. This is the big squeeze. And if there was ever a time that people need to really start trusting in the Lord Jesus Christ, it is right now. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we didn't anticipate this happening. We didn't know if it would happen, and it still may not happen. There is a grace period till May 4th, but I have a very strong feeling, that it's going to happen, and this is going to lead, it could potentially lead Putin that he'll be so blocked in a corner that what he'll do is he could throw the nukes. He really could throw the nukes, guys. I never thought we would be here at this moment in history, but we are. It is a war. And you might not say America is involved, but we're deeply involved. We're supplying all kinds of weaponry. We've got, you heard Mike around the world confirm it. We've got troops in Russia, special ops, Delta Force kind of guys. They're in there. They're helping the Ukrainians. They're dressed in Ukrainian uniforms, and they're not the only ones. There's other European nations also got troops in there with them. They know how to operate the good equipment, and this is why Russia's best warship sunk yesterday, and now its economy is about to sink, and they're losing thousands of soldiers, and they just found 900 people's bodies yesterday in the capital of Kiev that were murdered by the Russian soldiers. We have all kinds of atrocities going on, no doubt both sides, but there's just horrific. This is why war is so horrible. This thing, I mean, guys, are we on the brink of the beast here? Are we on the brink of the great economic reset? Are we on the brink of the new world order, setting up a one world currency? Is all of this coming into play? It is getting every day we inch closer to a nuclear confrontation. Yesterday, besides the Russian biggest warship they got, their flagship, getting sunk by the Ukrainians, they their announcers on state-run television said World War III has begun. This is the state-run television where over 200 million people are watching on television. This is the number one watched show or station. And I mean, can you imagine broadcasting that on your main news network on state-run TV out of Russia? Guys, the people's mentality in Russia is it's on. The people's mentality in America is we're clueless. Thank God the military's on top of it. And you remember when they used to say, everybody criticized President Trump and said he was going to drive us into a war with Russia and he's dangerous, and his tweets and his Twitter account and all of that, and how he was going to drive the world into World War III. Well, how's that working out now? How's that working out? Have the policies of the last 14 months made the world a safer place? Made the world a better place? Made the world a more prosperous place? Has it done anything to help us in this time? Are you serious? Something biblical is definitely going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. I'll give your life to Jesus Christ before it's too late. I'll be right back in a moment. What? It's getting crazy. It's getting insane in the membrane. The earth can shake, the sky come down, the mountains all fall to the ground. But I will fear none of those things. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Dark waters rise, the thunder pound, the wheels of war are going round, and all the walls are crumbling. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Hide me underneath your wings. Hide me deep inside your heart. In your refuge, cover me. The world can shake, but Lord, I'm making you my hiding place. The wind will blow, the rain can pour, the deluge break, the tempest roar. But in that storm, my spirit sings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. What? Well, it used to be about 10 cups a day. Now I'm down to 4, okay? Yeah, down to 4. 2 in the morning, 1 at lunch, 1 at 4 p.m. For me, someday when time no more shall be, and I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. That's right, Psalms 91. The audio is horrible.
Someday when time no more shall be, well, I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings.
Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Oh, yes. You know, it really is amazing how the Lord will shelter us. According to Psalms 91, he said that he would shelter us and that he would protect us and he would keep us. And if we would just abide under the shadow of the Almighty, if we'll just dwell in that secret place with God, he said, I will protect you. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you, but I'll go with you all the way, even to the end of the world. We're living in the last days, folks. We are living in the end times. You can, if you want to give a donation, or excuse me, if you want to give your Passover offering, really is this weekend. The thing to do is you can send your Passover offering by going to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's paulbegleyprophecy.com. Certainly, that's a good way to give your Passover offering. And another thing you could do is if you're saying, well, Pastor, I don't really know how to do that on online, because there's a few folks just it's easier for them just to pick up the phone and call. So you can do that. Here's the number. Call the number. Passover offerings. You can call 765-414-2230. We're taking the Passover offerings. They're still coming in. Oh, by the way, we'll be praying over all of them on Sunday Night Live this coming Sunday night. So it will be a very, very powerful broadcast. I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be back. There's still more stuff taking place, but this is huge. Just because it's just a financial issue, believe me, you're talking about huge losses of finances and crippling of the economy if the Russian loans default. I'll be back, folks. This is the coming apocalypse. Give your life to Jesus Christ and live in the victory. Really, I'm serious. Just live in the victory.